Alright, welcome back to the Supercoach Nuff channel. In this video, we're going to preview round 10 of the 2025 NRL Supercoach season. So before we get too deep into my team and what I'm doing, we'll have a look at the most popular trade-ins, trade-outs this week, and I guess share my thoughts. Also look at popular captaincy options and go from there. So on the trade outs this week, number one on the list is Jackson Purdue. So, it's been massive, made 380k. So, real filthy I got off before he absolutely exploded in price. But with the break even this week of 100 against the Panthers, who are sort of finding a bit of form, I think, he has perfectly peaked and it's time to get off. So, yeah, number one trade out and with good reason. Number two, Pete Mamazelis, so out with the elbow injury. Could be anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks, they think. So we're going to have to get rid of him before the bye anyway. So this just sort of facilitates that move. Jacob Preston, so didn't get the charge dropped at the judiciary, so out for 4 weeks, out on a bye, so he won't be back until round 15. So for 720k, that's a lot of money to hold. So I would suggest trading him out. Sandon Smith at number 4. So an interesting one. Obviously, isn't going to make the extra bit of money we thought he was going to make after his massive Anzac Day game due to the head knock and the zero that he scored. But I think he is a hold. Obviously, if you've got him and Mamazelis, you do need to move on. One, I'd move on Mamazelis just because Sandon Smith should be back next week and then covers a lot of the bye rounds. And the dual position could be quite handy as well. But if you can upgrade, you've got him at halfback, for example, and you wanted to upgrade to a keeper, then I think that's a fair move. Gutho on number 5. Yep, so he's now cheaper than what he was to start the season when he went absolutely bonkers. So you are trading at a loss if you make the move, but yeah, I think he's sort of had that mad run, and now he's back to what he would normally produce. Connor Watson. So this is another interesting one. I guess the difference with Connor Watson is he shouldn't be available through the Origin period, which basically means he's only going to play about 4 of the next 10 games or something ridiculous like that. So sort of, I guess, part of the reason why I avoided, and I think if you've got him, you probably can trade him out. Corey Horsburgh at number 7. So, probably will be in the mix for Queensland. So, might not be available for round 12 anyway. So I think he's a luxury trade out. I'm going to keep him, but I can see why people would want to move on. Hiroti injured, and Ero's back, so I think he can go. Thomas Cant's not playing, so he can go. And Billy Smith is another one I'd probably hold. He's only made 80k so far. We'll play the bye rounds. And we just saw last week, if you held Rob Toyer, you get rewarded with that big score eventually and that cash injection. So I think Billy Smith has that ability, so I would hold Billy Smith. All right, and then the trade ins this week. So number 1 is Fletcher Sharp. So I guess Purdue to Fletcher Sharp was pretty wild. Only cost you a couple of grand. And I think that's a serious upgrade given they've got the Titans this week and then it leads into the nice sort of run through Origin. Cam McInnes, so I've had him in the team for a little while as just, a solid second row hooker option. I've got him at hooker. And I guess given the injuries and the like, it does make sense to bring in McInnes and just lock in that solid base. Number 3, King Togia. So people going early on the downgrade pick. I guess when in a round where there's not really a lot of downgrade options, I can understand why people will do it, but I'm not doing it this week. I'm going to wait another week, get a bit more data, um, and then bring him in next week. So it is always a risk bringing in a bottom dollar rookie before their bubble game. Just if something was to happen and he was unfortunately injured this week, you'd then be stuck with a bottom dollar player that you can't cash out. It's going to cost you another trade to move on, and you've got no money out of it. At least if he gets through this week and he's named, you do have the opportunity to back out. But at least then, as soon as he walks on the field for that third game, you should at least make some cash. So it's not a complete waste of a trade. So that's the theory behind not going early on these rookies. But if it does sort of facilitate bringing in a big gun that you really want, that's fair enough. Dylan Lucas, so pretty much copy and paste what we said for Fletcher Sharp. Offers a bit of a more solid base given he plays in the second row normally, but is available at centre wing. So yeah, if you've got one, get the other. You can have both. It's perfectly fine. Round 18, you will have to make a decision what to do there. Riley Smith at number 5. So I guess the downgrade option at hooker if you don't have the cash to go up from a Mamazelis or a Sandon Smith. Um, Looks like he's going to continue expanding his role in the team. So I don't hate it, but I'm not looking at trading Sandon Smith, so I'm not bringing in Riley Smith in Supercoach. Do have him in fantasy, and pretty glad I do. Jacob Kiraz at number 6. So it sounds like Zach Lomax is going to make it back in time for Origin, which should mean that Kiraz is available for those buy rounds. So I think he is a top target. Against the Raiders this week, I don't know if he'll make a lot of money in points. His break even should be pretty good, 36. But he is a rare sort of winger that offers you that base. Him and Toto are those sort of options. Maybe Marzu to a lesser extent. So yeah, Kiraz, big fan, bring him in. There for it. Number 7, Sua Falongo. So definitely passes the eye test. It's just awkward though. The Storm don't play round 12 or round 15. And obviously, it would be great if he could sort of stay out of the team until then, and we could bring him in for the mad run home, and hopefully he goes big. Um, so yeah, it's probably better moves to plan for the future. But I mean, if you're like me and pretty well set in the centre wing for round 12, I do like him as a real point of difference option. Eli Katoa, so I guess probably a popular trade for Preston. But copy and paste what I just said about the buys for Eli Katoa. So here's one I'm definitely looking to target around round 16 to upgrade my second row. Bo Fermor, so made a good chunk of cash last week, 94k. Still has a negative break even, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, negative 24. I guess the only issue is that he doesn't play round 12. But basically, will be a keeper in the centre wing, a bit like Dylan Lucas is that second rower that offers a bit more base, but definitely has the upside too. Can find his way to the try line. So Bo Fermor, I guess the one question around him too could be Origin, but again, he's not playing around 12, so that doesn't really affect that. And Nico Hines, so I guess people may be trading Sanders Smith to him. I do like that trade as a halfback. Um, yeah, I guess at the moment I'd probably prefer him to Jerome Hughes as my second halfback, but things might work out in the end. So yeah, Nico Hines I think is a safe enough option to bring in this week if you have the funds to do so. Captaincy, so we're going with the top 10% because they know what they're talking about, and me not being in the top 10%, the statement still stands. But any fear of adjusting might have stuffed it up. But a lot of the top 10% going Ryan Pappenhausen in the second to last game, I think it is, in the round against the Tigers. So I think it is Sunday at Arvo at Amy Park, which is a nice place to be. Obviously, as you can see, I don't own him, so not in my consideration. But if you've got him, I think it's not the worst shout. Payne Haas, I guess, a bit of an earlier captaincy option this week. It does depend who your VC is going to be. Um, so, yeah, he's always in the captaincy conversation. It's always a safe bet. Nathan Cleary, so 129 last week, back to a bit of form there at the Panthers. Against the Cowboys will be interesting. You know, the Cowboys have found a bit of form themselves. It is up in North Queensland on a Saturday night. Um, but, you know, he is one of the Supercoach goats, so feel free to captain him. Terrell May, so more of a safe captaincy option. Obviously, you know, people going with a different option in that game. But yeah, I think he's one I'll back in with this week with the C, just as a safe. You know, he's averaging 80 plus. If he gets me 80 as a captain, I'm sweet with that. Ruben Garrick in the last game against the Sharks. Um, yeah, why not? If you've got him, could be worth a punt. I guess particularly a lot of us don't have Tom Travojevic anymore. So, yeah, Ruben Garrick, okay. Scott Drinkwater, I guess against Penrith is probably a bit of a step up in class compared to what they've played against recently. Olakuatu, you know, there's always a chance of a good score. Purdue, this is pretty brave, I think, against the Panthers, but, you know, he has scored well so far, averaging 63, so probably not my first choice. But yeah, probably avoid that one actually. That's a bit rough. I can't believe 2% of the top 10% are doing it. Kalen Ponga, so I guess pretty brave to straight out captain him. As you can see, a pretty popular VC option, and the way I'm leaning at the moment. And Jacob Kiraz, so probably just a few people still got him from last week. I wouldn't be captaining him against the Raiders. So in the VC conversation, Kalen Ponga number one makes sense. You know, high risk, high reward against the Titans, but you know, maybe not the safest and securest option with a 64 average. Fletcher Sharp, you know, again, Titans have been leaking Supercoach points for fun, so Fletcher Sharp could get amongst it. Nico Hines was 11th in the captaincy call. Um, I guess, yeah, probably if he's in the last game, so you're not looping him at that stage. So I guess that's just if you are locking in maybe Cleary as captain and you've got Hines in the flex or something like that. Fair enough. Pappy, so Greg Marzu, again, copy and paste what we just talked about. Herbie Farnworth in the first game, so yeah, why not? Have a go early. And Teddy, a lot of people still haven't fixed their teams up before the start of the round. So, in terms of my moves this week, might be slightly controversial, but no trades. So, I did talk about this in the round review for round nine on Monday. Um, I guess it just comes down to when I look at my team, there's no one that I urgently need to trade out. Probably the closest to that might be Hubner, who has a 60 break even, but named to start at lock forward again. Up against the Broncos forward pack, there's every chance that he could be asked to make 40 tackles and make 20 runs, which will get him that base. And, you know, if he can crash over for a try, the Broncos aren't the strongest defensive side going around, then he could potentially make a bit of money this week. And even if he loses a bit, I think I'll be okay, just given the amount of money going around at the moment. So, not in an urgent rush to trade him out. You know, I've got decent halves with the news. Jaden Campbell's back this week. You know, there was a chat about maybe trade him to King Togia early. For, excuse me. Free up some cash to, you know, upgrade Hubner or something like that. But Campbell's back. He's my boy. Keen to play him. So, there's not really the cash generation there. And everyone else is okay. If I had the money to upgrade Yongi, I would, but I really don't. Only got 87k. Happy to play him this week against the Dolphins. Um, like centre wing, I'm pretty comfortable with. These guys are going to be useful through the bye rounds. Halves are good. I will have to make a decision next week about what to do with King Togia, and I think I've got a plan. Um, the forward pack, so we've got three guys that I'm happy to play on field every week. These guys on the bench are making money, and Savala will also offer coverage. Hamish Stewart's just made a bit of cash, so we'll keep him. Sandon Smith, we're good with keeping. If I was desperate, I could trade him down to Riley Smith and, use that money again elsewhere. But I think Sandon Smith's value will come over the next sort of 6 to 8 weeks. So I'm holding there. So no trades, unfortunately. As I said, Terrell May, safe captain. Kalen Ponga, vice captain, high upside pick. But I don't hate if you get Payne Haas in there, Nathan Cleary in there. I guess I'm just going with Ponga. I could do Marzu, Farmworth there. But yeah, Ponga is my guy this week. So I guess if you are looking for some trades, I can quickly show you on Sports Deck. I'm doing one trade, and that is just cashing out Jackson Purdue. Initially, I was going to go Jaden Campbell, my guy, but I did see a little shout about a bit of a pot option, KL Hero. And he is someone I do want to get in Supercoach as well. Obviously, need a bit of money to get there. But I thought, well, this is the sort of league where I get a few more of the guys I like Preston, Katoa, and now KL Hero. So yeah, so you might think, well, you got Preston on the bench. I'm just holding. Like I've got a pretty good squad. In a great position overall inside the top 100 for this format. I've got Watson and McInnes at hooker. Like got the gun halves basically. Everything is going well. Like solid backline now. Maybe I think I can maybe pull off the Derby up to Teddy next week through a King Togia trade. Um, so yeah, this is going awesome. So that little luxury of bringing in Hero and holding Preston, I'm absolutely here for it. But yeah, we'll wrap the video up there. So as always, if you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to add them below this video. Give us a like if you enjoy the Supercoach content. Subscribe for all the fantasy sports content on the channel. And other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.